Hello everyone, welcome once again to Investing with a Difference. So today we are going to have a big update on EOS, quite a few things happening. As I see that we have not talked about quite a few things, so as I realize when I start thinking about doing a video, and today I think I'll try to cover a lot of stuff in EOS world, but before that let's have a quick look at the markets. So we did have another round of selling in crypto market, and as you can see that Bitcoin has again broken below some of the key resistance levels and the support levels on $3,500. But I think the good news is it's still not going all the way to new lows, and it's holding on. I think that's one good sign. Now what's really happening, I always look at the relative status. Again, Ethereum has settled down at number 3, and Ripple which is not done well. If you see, Ripple has been underperforming for quite some time now, and Ethereum going below Ripple, it's a good sign that it's not doing well. On the other hand, EOS is now number 4, and if you see even Tether, it has been going up and down between Tether and EOS. It's a pretty small difference. I don't consider Tether as a competitor or even a crypto or a blockchain platform, because it's just a kind of a trading token which people use while going in and out of currency. So I would say that EOS is clear number 4 right now, because it has built quite a sizable lead between Bitcoin. If you remember, at some point Stellar was above, so you can clearly see that some of the platforms which are not doing that well are underperforming, and that's a sign of bear market. And EOS is continuously maintaining its position, or in fact improving from number 5 or 6 in a few months back to number 4. Overall, I think not just that, one more thing which I'm realizing is that more and more people are talking about how EOS is doing better than Ethereum in terms of adoption, in terms of dApps enablement and so on, and I'm seeing this chatter going louder and louder. In addition, as you see, there is nothing else right now looking competitive, and even other projects are going down. So overall, I think it's while the bear market is still continuing, there is no real recovery. I would say that it's more about whether the people are seeing, even in the bear market, are they seeing EOS as the viable future solution? That's what I wanted to talk about. And now, of course, as I keep telling you, that we are still building, we are still doing a lot of activities. The interest in development is huge. So we did our first workshop. I'm sorry for this, so let me try to bring on some of the pictures from our workshops. And we had Colin, which was great meeting him. We had Alex from EOS Canada. We had some amazing stuff in terms of learning the code in EOS world, which was pretty nice to see what is this, how the blockchain really operates, the internals, and it was fun. We had Rose from EOS Studio. It's a great tool. I think many of you have been following YouTube Cypherglass videos, and they have talked about it previously in EOS Everything. Of course, we had a lot of fun. We learned a lot, but what I'm trying to highlight is that it's a lot of progress happening on the building side. And what I would like to highlight is, now EOS Canada, I was talking to Alex, and Diffuse APIs, they're great for developers. And it's not just EOS Canada. What I'm seeing now is a lot of other people are bringing these APIs. So Liberty Block just announced they have these simple EOS APIs. This is again a set of tools which are enabling developers. So this is like a typical maturity of blockchain, the kind of tools we are getting. They are building some interesting services on top of it. Similarly, very interesting thing which I liked is the EOS Infra, which is coming from EOS Asia, and this is scalable EOS infrastructure. Basically what they're saying is they are actually enabling similarly services for dApps, where it makes it easy for developers to use APIs. They are already claiming to be very, very active in this space, and now they have created a business model around it. And this is interesting because this is going to help some of these BPs sustain by creating a business model, by providing these APIs for a fee, because many of these dApps are actually making money, like either they're gambling sites or something. Ultimately, the dApps have to be responsible for creating a business model, but as a block producer, they can create additional source of revenues by selling these API services, which is amazing. And I think this is kind of shows the maturity of where the EOS ecosystem is heading. Uh, Beyond this, I think if you look at other progress, I think you must have seen this ITAM games, ITAM, ITAM they call it. This is a game store. It looks very interesting. What I'm understanding is they are going to be launching soon, and they have some in-house games being developed, which are like serious games and not really like what you're seeing existing games on gambling and so on. And they are building this sort of a app store for on EOS based games, which is amazing. The quality of these games looks nice. What I have seen, I've been talking to some of these players in this team, and I really love what they're telling me. So we'll bring more details about it soon. They have a SDK for people to start developing. The basic idea is, as you know, that it's like when you go and buy a mobile phone, you need a Google App Store for Android, like a Play Store they call it, and then there's App Store on iPhone. So they are trying to become that, where people can publish. The game developers do not have to worry about blockchain and the background of token economics, and they take care of it. And you can focus on the creative side as a game developer. So this is amazing. This is a great progress. What else is happening, I would say, is Worbli provided an update, and that is on the sharedrop update, that now they are trying to help you claim by a certain date. If you do not do that, then after that, if you create a new account, you will not be eligible to claim the sharedrop. So you need to register. You make sure that you are creating an email and creating an account, and then it's all about doing your AML KYC, which whether you can decide to do it or not, you will be able to do it. What is more important is they are now allowing multiple accounts to claim. Like if you remember, originally they said only one account can be associated with one Worbli account. Now you can claim your tokens from multiple accounts. So do consider that if you are interested. I think overall Worbli is making some progress, even though they are not being as successful in attracting investors. I don't see their token price doing very well, but I think it's a time to build, right? Means that's how I see it. They have a very niche market. They are going to see dApps which are looking for KYC compliance. STO, which they recently announced, is a great progress, because as I keep talking about it, ultimately this is a huge market. This is security token and the equity models on blockchain. This week, another thing which happened is T0, which is Ethereum based program. It's announced with a great fanfare. They actually raised $134 million as a platform. So if you just look at from that perspective, I think Worbli is pretty decent investment. Again, it's not an investment or advice. What I'm trying to say is, ultimately, if we believe EOS will be successful, people will be looking for bringing all the Ethereum use cases on EOS. Today, Ethereum still has the first hand. It is still the leading platform for launching STO. But if you have to launch on EOS, I think Worbli is a ready-made solution, which is what I'm saying as a promise of Worbli. But we are not there yet, so I would say that make sure do your own due diligence for whether you believe Worbli is worth it to invest. But what I'm trying to highlight is you can at least make sure that you follow these instructions and claim if you are interested in claiming free sharedrop. So now when we are talking about sharedrops, the BOS, which was we talked about earlier, that is still progressing. The reason I wanted to highlight BOS is that the BOS chain is now trading on NewDex. Already some other exchanges, the smaller exchanges, were allowing that, but now you have something like NewDex offering cross-chain product. That means you can buy BOS for EOS, while of course you can claim your 1:20 BOS token airdrop, which they gave using scatter with active keys. You do not have to risk your owner keys, and that is another way they have been providing that airdrop. But now I see that it's listed. It's quoting at 0.20 EOS, which is sorry, 0.02 EOS. So I think it's gaining some traction, at least from exchanges, where it's NewDex bringing BOS before Telos. Shows you that BOS has got some good support from, as we saw, the better exchanges. We are seeing more block producers willing to participate, and when I'm talking to them, I'm particularly not liking the fact that they gave a very small airdrop and they are acting like a private chain. But what I'm hearing is that with all the technical advancements they are doing, with the experimentation around IBC, the experimentation around the faster block cycles, like how you verify your transactions over the chain, so they are adding a lot of value, and which is again a great progress in itself. I don't think we need to underestimate that these are great experiments. It's a pretty cheap token, and it's not really giving you a, even if you get a 1:1 airdrop, it's not going to change your financial situation in terms, like, it's not a huge reward. What I can tell you is that my personal belief is it's all about progress in EOS world, bringing more developers, bringing new ideas. That's what these side chains are providing at this moment, and I completely agree with the overall sentiment but we have about they're not providing the full airdrop to the EOS token holders. It's not a great way. I think a lot of people are not happy about it. I'm hearing some even within Chinese community, like EOS Lao Mao came out with a statement that they do not support BOS because of this reason. I am hearing some other big players. Lao Mao is a pretty huge player because they are usually in top 5 block producers always, so they have the support from big whales and token holders in China, if not worldwide. And they have publicly come out and against BOS, and many other people are telling me that they are not happy. So we will keep discussing. I think this is always going to be a challenge. I think a lot of people have accepted Telos, a lot of people have accepted Worbli, while a lot of people have also rejected those previous sister chains. When I'm talking to block producers, they are telling me that BOS is technically it's a great team, and they are trying to make progress in IBC. So that's one thing which is interesting. So these are some of the ideas I wanted to discuss. Then of course, while we are at NewDex, we can look at other tokens, how they are doing. So I think most of them are gambling tokens. I'm not trying to get into that. Meet One, if you are not aware, so this was one of the ERC20 snapshot based airdrop. Many people had trouble getting Meet One token, and my view was it's pretty cheap token. Do not worry about it. It's not a huge deal unless you hold millions of EOS, and you can always buy it for a very small amount. Now the thing is, now they are this token has really done well recently, ever since they announced their side chain. Again, that is they are claiming it's a side chain. It's they are going to be able to transfer your Meet token from EOS chain to that chain easily. So this is again a very rudimentary form of IBC. But again, I don't think anybody has really solved IBC. But I just wanted to highlight that Meet One is launching their own chain. If you're not aware, just read about it. NewDex token is done reasonably well since they started staking. So NewDex, I like the model of their staking because they are providing some sort of reduced fee if you're staking certain number of tokens. So that's a good way of creating a token economics around it. And they are also going to give airdrops. That's what they're claiming. If you stake tokens, they will be providing some sort of airdrops, and it's a pretty interesting model of how they are rewarding the token holders as well as bringing more partnership. So these are some interesting ideas. I think Seed we have talked about enough. So they had this staking model, and since they started staking and rewarding only stake tokens, their token price has stabilized and actually improved quite a lot. In last few days, it's more than doubled. So Seed is doing well. EOS DAC, I have talked about it. This is ready to launch as a with actual governance model with custodian voting. It's the token price is kind of going up and down, but it's pretty much stable. And EOS DAC, I see a lot of potential. While it's a block producer, they are also a lot of stuff happening there. Do participate if you can. Do vote for it. I talked about it in previous videos. I'm one of the custodian candidates. If you want to support me, do join at the client portal. And you can watch the previous episodes of Investing with a Difference, and we have a lot of content there about it. IQ, I think it's interesting because IQ has been running their own chain because they are doing a lot of transactions, and they always believe that they need a side chain. And they were one of the biggest projects which raised money from EOS VC fund even before the launch. They have actually announced some new ideas. They are claiming to February 1st onwards they are going to make some big changes. They are doing their own referendums. They are allowing voting. They are going to be implementing a new smart contract which is going to be allowing on-chain comments on edits. So it's, as you know, that Everipedia is kind of a Wikipedia on blockchain, and it's technically, if you look into these details, they are making a lot of progresses, like in sense that you can really create a Wikipedia model using a blockchain, verified edits and so on. You can see all these transactions on chain. It's a great progress. I think they are making some key improvements. Do read it. I will put a note here if you're interested. I'm not very active in IQ domain. I'm not really a contributor, or I'm not using this app a lot, but I'm sure a lot of people who are actually contributing, and it's a huge community of IQ token holders as well as editors, and that's why I think you need to really learn if you're interested, and they're building a pretty decent ecosystem. Now, coming back to that, I think a lot of other projects are making progress. I think we talked about MEV previously. It's not really doing well, but they have launched on Tron, so they are giving 1:1 airdrop for the Tron. If you hold MEV tokens, make sure you're staking them and registering the Tron account to benefit from it, just in case you have missed it. So Tribe is continuing with their airdrops based on the token holdings. They're also giving additional bonuses for buying their pre-sale, so that is going on. Boyd has started staking. I think that's many of the people, like, I'm not very closely following Boyd on a day-to-day basis, but I think a lot of people had teams joining, like, part of the teams of Boyd mining and so on. So just wanted to make sure, go read out about more details about staking. They are enabling staking and some rewards. So I think this whole staking model is picking up. People are realizing that and you need to create like EOS is a resource-based chain. You need to make sure that you bring in more and more ideas around how to use your token and not just make it as a currency, and that doesn't really work. And that's what I think people are realizing, and actually creating some interesting models of staking. So this is continuously evolving. I would say a lot of ideas and a lot of development, like all these people are very engaged in community. They're actually developing on a day-to-day basis. Tools are coming. I look at I think EOS New York's weekly updates, and if you see, every week I see some amazing amount of work being done by many kind of participant in EOS ecosystem, and every week I see huge updates. While I'm tracking some of them, I'm not able to track everything. So if you're a developer, if you want to see what EOS is doing, overall EOS community is doing, do participate, and I think you will be really surprised how much work is going on. So again, coming back to the markets overall, I think I keep reminding you that we are still in bear market. We are not really going and breaking out. Be very careful if you're investing. Watch out for how the overall market does, because I think we are still very much tied in EOS from an overall market sentiment perspective. But that doesn't worry me too much, because the kind of progress we are seeing, kind of activity we are seeing in EOS community, I have not seen in any other project. If you see the project, like the reason I highlight is Ethereum is so well funded. It is so many developers working on it. But if you look at the core, I was just reading about the latest upgrade, the Constantine Pole upgrade, which we talked about. This one is not really gone well. They have delayed it. They have actually, even though it's happening in February now, as they say, they're still not rolling out everything. They're not creating the difficulty bomb. All these things are not happening in fast enough, and a lot of people are questioning now what is going to happen with Ethereum, whether they can scale up fast enough. There are better protocols coming. EOS is already displacing them. There are other projects which are actually trying to scale Ethereum. I'm looking into those, because see, we need to always be open about ideas. I think blockchain is not going to wait. If you look at how industry is accepting even the private blockchain, like what IBM is building, like Hyperledger, I'm seeing Walmart, people like big huge companies like Nestle, those kind of people are right now actively adopting the private blockchain, and the proof of concept stage is gone now. I think everybody believes that there has to be real usage of blockchain. Now public blockchain will have their place, because ultimately you need open source, you need more trustless systems. For some of these industrial use cases, I believe that a lot more private blockchain will continue. They will capture the market share, like what IBM Hyperledger is doing. But for, and even EOS world, I think a lot of private chains are coming up. Worbli, you can say it's a commission chain, it's not really public chain, so it's they are trying to create a model there. So EOS.io is a pretty vast ecosystem already, but from a public blockchain perspective, I think Ethereum is not making progress fast enough, and I don't see any other platform. If you see in the top 10 list, Tron, I keep hearing it's making a lot of progress. It's not too far behind. Recently it has done well in price, but if you go back and look at the features of EOS in terms of how you can do account names, how you can do so many permissions, like you can have, and I will talk about this in a separate video, how unique EOS is for businesses. When I talk to the dApps, the kind of usability EOS provides, I don't see any other blockchain providing in near future. Even there is no white paper or proposal which matches the capabilities of EOS, and that's what keeps me excited technically in this domain. And I keep coming back to say that while I'm looking at all these other blockchains, we don't have a real solution to solve real world problem outside EOS, and that's what we are looking at. That's what we are seeing, some serious businesses coming in beyond just block production. We talked about it earlier in this video today, and I keep looking at it, and it's very exciting. So once again, I think a lot of people have complained about that this kind of changing keys and all these things we did earlier, they are too complex. I agree. I think you need to understand some of the basics of EOS before you even go into changing your keys, and I'm realizing that that is something missing. So we will do a video on that very soon, and we'll talk about very basics. First, you need to really understand those things before you even jump into changing keys. So let's get into that in a separate video. But I do hope that all of you remain safe, especially around do not enter your keys if you do not understand completely. I keep seeing some scams. Telos Foundation had a kind of a fake website, so it's not really Telos Foundation, but I mean to say a scammer build up a Telos Foundation website, and some people are directing towards that to claim their Telos. So do not fall into those traps. Crypto world is full of scams. Block 1 came out with a statement recently that nobody can ask you for your private keys. Nobody should be asking you. So make sure you ask around if you get any deadlines to go claim any tokens. Most of these chains, sister chains and all, they are not going away. They are not saying that claim it now. Like Telos has a till end of the year to claim. So make sure you understand, ask around in the community before you take any steps and start using your wallets with any of these new websites which are popping up to scam your coins. So be careful, and we keep learning. I think this is for blockchain is not a place for speculation in these days, because we had this huge hype in 2017-18, and now we are back to the days of building. So if you're not really understanding it, if you're not following it closely, you better invest your money in some safer places and do not look for speculating here, because it's still early days. It's not yet safe enough for people who are just purely trying to participate without understanding, and there has to be more solution built on top to make it easy for everyday user. But the progress is happening in the right direction. As we discussed today, a lot of things are happening, and I'm looking forward to the day when we have better ideas on how to keep everyday users keys secure, and build some sort of two-factor authentication systems and so on. So I'm very optimistic. I'm even today when I talked to a few other people in the industry, we had a meetup here, and it was amazing to hear the views of how things are changing very fast, and we will keep talking about it in future. So I will close this video. It has been a pretty long video. I hope it was useful, and we will keep coming back with more and more EOS content. Thank you once again. Do like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and do send us your feedback on what you want to see next in our video content. Thank you. Bye bye.